After years of grueling effort, Boeing's much-anticipated 777X program looked like it was finally approaching the finish line. But just as optimism grew, an unexpected roadblock threatened to derail everything once again. Another looming certification delay. Every day, the wait drags on. Airlines grow more impatient, while Airbus steadily tightens its grip on the wide-body market. So what really happened? Why is the 777X still facing setbacks, and what does it mean for the future of aviation? To calm nerves, Boeing proudly highlighted its test progress. 5 aircraft, 1,500 flights, more than 4,100 hours in the sky. On September 11th, CEO Kelly Ortberg reassured investors, insisting, "We're doing a lot of sorties and have no new technical issues with the aircraft or engines." Hopes soared that certification was close. But at a Morgan Stanley conference, Ortberg suddenly changed his tune. In a blunt admission, he revealed Boeing was clearly behind plan, blaming the FAA's slow pace and the piecemeal approval process. The truth: Boeing still lacked clearance for large portions of the program. That revelation sent shockwaves through the industry. While Boeing already admitted first deliveries were pushed back to 2026, analysts fear approval could slip further to 2027. If that happens, some airlines won't see their jets until 2028. That's almost a decade behind schedule. For an aircraft that was supposed to enter service in 2020, the 777X could go down as one of the costliest and most damaging delays in aviation history. The reasons are serious. In late 2024, Boeing was forced to ground its entire test fleet for 5 months after discovering fractured thrust links critical parts that hold the giant GE9X engines in place. Incidents like these highlight the technical and regulatory minefield Boeing is navigating under intense FAA scrutiny. Of course, delays are nothing new in aviation. Airbus's own A321XLR was pushed back by more than a year. But the 777X's timeline is in a league of its own, and the consequences are far worse. For airlines, the ripple effect is brutal. Emirates, the largest 777X customer, is stuck flying older 777-300ERs that burn far more fuel and rack up costly maintenance. Emirates President Sir Tim Clark has publicly blasted Boeing for its repeated failures and even threatened to cancel orders. Other major carriers, including ANA and Cathay Pacific, have voiced similar frustrations. Yet these airlines have little choice. Emirates eventually placed more 777X orders, not out of loyalty, but because alternatives are limited. Still, the tension is unmistakable, and patience is wearing thin. Meanwhile, Airbus is seizing the moment, with the 777X trapped in certification limbo. The A350 has a clear runway to dominate the large twin-engine market. Some carriers are even considering shifting part of their Boeing orders to Airbus, a devastating blow to Boeing's market position and credibility. This matters because the 777X wasn't just another jet. It was Boeing's successor to the legendary 777, meant to define the future of long-haul travel, with folding wingtips, next-gen engines, and capacity for over 400 passengers. It was designed to outclass the A350. On paper, it does. In reality, Airbus's jet is flying and Boeing's isn't, and the numbers tell a painful story. The 777-9 burns around 48 pounds of fuel per nautical mile, while the A350-1000 uses just 32. Range differences are minimal. But efficiency is everything in today's market. The 777X may be bigger, but Airbus's aircraft is cheaper to operate and available now for Boeing. The stakes go far beyond one airplane. Every delay inflates costs, drains billions from its balance sheet, and risks penalties from furious airlines. Worse, after the 737 MAX crisis. This saga reinforces the perception of a company struggling to deliver on its promises. Trust is evaporating not just from airlines, but from regulators, investors, and passengers. And with the 777-8F freighter program also hanging in the balance, Airbus's upcoming A350F could steal yet another crucial market. The 777X was supposed to be Boeing's comeback story. Instead, it risks becoming a cautionary tale, an aircraft that missed its moment. surrendered market share. The message is clear: trust, efficiency, and timing decide the fate of an aircraft program. And for Boeing, winning back that trust may be its hardest challenge yet. Asterisk for over a decade. Boeing has poured billions into its most ambitious wide-body project since the Dreamliner. The 777X, also called the 777X, was supposed to be the crown jewel of long-haul travel. Bigger, more efficient, and designed to dominate the skies for decades to come. At first, the plan was bold yet simple. Take the legendary 777, the backbone of global long-haul fleets since the 1990s, and reinvent it for a new era. Introduce revolutionary folding wingtips, the largest and most powerful commercial jet engines ever built, and a passenger capacity that could rival the golden age of the jumbo jet. The message to airlines was clear: this is the aircraft of the future. But years later, that future is still grounded. Instead of leading the way, the 777X program has become a symbol of delay, frustration, and missed opportunity. By 2024, Boeing seemed ready to put its troubled past behind it. The company proudly released stats from its flight test campaign: 5 test aircraft, more than 1,500 flights, and over 4,100 hours in the sky. On September 11th, CEO Kelly Ortberg echoed that optimism, declaring, "We're doing a lot of sorties and have no new technical issues on the aircraft or the engines." It sounded like good news. After years of waiting, airlines finally believed certification was just around the corner. But then came the bombshell. At a Morgan Stanley investor conference, Ortberg admitted something completely different. "We're clearly behind our plan in getting the certification done." The contradiction stunned the industry. Behind the optimistic headlines, Boeing was still struggling. The FAA was only granting limited, incremental approvals. Vast sections of the certification program remained untouched. The finish line was not close. It was moving further away originally. The 777X was scheduled to enter service in 2020. By late 2024, Boeing pushed deliveries to 2026. Analysts, however, were less optimistic, warning certification could drag until 2027. If that happens, some airlines won't receive their jets until 2028. That would be nearly 8 years late and unprecedented. Delay in modern aviation. For airlines, this isn't just an inconvenience. It's a logistical nightmare. Wide-body aircraft aren't luxuries. They're the backbone of long-haul networks. Emirates, the largest 777X customer, is still flying older 777-300ERs that burn more fuel, require more maintenance, and create higher costs. Every delay forces airlines to adjust their fleet strategies, extend the lives of aging jets, and miss out on efficiency gains they were promised years ago. The problems run deep. In August 2024, Boeing was forced to ground the entire 777X test fleet for 5 months after discovering fractured thrust links, the vital components holding the GE9X engines in place. For a jet marketed on safety and innovation, this was a devastating discovery. And it wasn't the first time. Over the years, multiple technical hurdles, from engine issues to structural tests, have slowed the program. Compounding everything is the FAA's stricter oversight after the 737 MAX crisis. Regulators no longer accept Boeing's assurances at face value. Every step is scrutinized. Every approval takes longer. This isn't just a technical delay, it's a cultural and regulatory reckoning. Airlines aren't hiding their frustration anymore. Emirates President Sir Tim Clark has openly accused Boeing of incompetence and threatened to cancel 777X orders altogether. While those threats never materialized, the fact that they were repeated publicly speaks volumes. Other carriers, like ANA and Cathay Pacific, have also voiced disappointment. They invested billions in long-term planning around this aircraft, only to see schedules ripped apart. The irony: despite their anger, airlines still order more 777Xs. Why? Because they don't have many alternatives. Airbus's A350 is excellent, but it doesn't perfectly match the 777X's high capacity design. This leaves airlines stuck between frustration and dependence, a dangerous dynamic for Boeing. While Boeing struggles, Airbus has been quietly racking up victories. The A350 is already flying with top airlines worldwide. It's efficient, reliable, and most importantly available today. Analysts predict that some frustrated 777X customers may partially shift orders to Airbus, if even giants like Lufthansa or ANA redirect just a portion of their commitments. It could tilt the balance of power in the wide-body market for years to come. Airbus isn't just competing, it's capitalizing on Boeing's weakness. The A350's fuel efficiency gives it a natural advantage. Boeing's own numbers show the 777-9 burns about 48 pounds of fuel per nautical mile, while the A350-1000 burns only 32. Boeing's jet is larger and offers more seats. But in today's fuel-conscious world, efficiency often trumps size. The saddest truth? The 777X is, by all accounts, an extraordinary aircraft. With folding wingtips, massive GE9X engines, and the ability to carry more than 400 passengers. It's a technological marvel. But aviation isn't just about engineering. It's about timing, and Boeing missed its window had the jet launched in 2020 as planned. It would have dominated the post-pandemic recovery when airlines were desperate for efficient wide-bodies. Instead, it's arriving years late. When much of that demand has already shifted elsewhere, every delay costs Boeing billions. Development expenses keep rising. After years of relentless effort to secure certification, the 777X program seemed to be inching closer to the finish line. But then a shocking twist suddenly appeared to block this journey: the looming risk of yet another certification delay. With each passing day, customer patience wears thinner, while the competitive pressure from Airbus grows stronger. But what exactly happened? Why does the 7X continue to face delays? And how will this affect the aviation industry? Let's find out. In an effort to reassure the market, Boeing released impressive figures from the 777-9's flight test program. 5 jets were involved, completing 1,500 flights and accumulating a total of 4,100 flight hours. Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg reinforced this optimism on September 11th, stating, "We're doing a lot of sorties and have no new technical issues on the aircraft or the engines." With this confident declaration, the aviation industry believed the commercial launch of the 777X was imminent. But what many people found astonishing is at a Morgan Stanley conference, Ortberg himself offered a cautious admission that completely contradicted his earlier statements. He candidly announced, "We're clearly behind our plan in getting the certification done." Ortberg pointed out that the FAA was approving at a slow pace, and Boeing had yet to receive approval for a large portion of the certification program, with the agency instead granting incremental approvals through the 777-9's Type Inspection Authorization, TIA. Here's the kicker. The immense workload required for certification now faces the risk of further delays. While Boeing confirmed in late 2024 that the first approval and delivery would be pushed back to 2026, an admission that the 2025 timeline was unrealistic. Analysts' fears run much deeper. They are concerned that the certification process could be prolonged until 2027. So what's next? If approval happens in 2027, the first deliveries could only begin after that. This means some airlines might not be able to deploy the wide-body aircraft for scheduled passenger flights until 2028. A delay of 7 to 8 years compared to the original planned timeline of 2020, with Ortberg, the man tasked with turning the struggling aircraft manufacturer around, now publicly confirming the delay. The 777X launch could become one of the most costly and notable delays in aviation history. So what does this mean for the aviation industry? The 777X development program has been significantly delayed, mainly because Boeing is facing complex technical barriers amidst increased scrutiny from the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA. Of the most serious incidents occurred when the U.S. manufacturer was forced to ground the entire flight test fleet from August 20th, 2024 to January 20th, 2024-425. After discovering broken thrust links, extremely critical components that secure the GE Aerospace GE9X turbine engines to the aircraft structure. But here's the crux of the matter. While new aircraft launches rarely go smoothly, and all new aircraft face some form of delay, as seen most recently with the Airbus A321XLR, delayed by over a year. The delay for the 777X is unprecedented. This creates an impact that could not be worse for the entire aviation industry. So, what happens now? 777X customers will continue to grapple with older, less efficient aircraft, which are large in capacity and should have been immediately retired to make way for the new generation. For example, Emirates, the airline with the most 777X orders, is currently still operating its aging 77,300 ERS, which consumes significantly more fuel than the new version. The continued use of these aircraft not only increases operating costs, but also causes maintenance and service disruption issues. Currently, Boeing holds unfinished orders for 5657X aircraft, including 463-9 South, 59-8 freighters, and 43-8 passenger jets. However, pressure from airlines who have changed their forecasts and publicly expressed frustration over the company's repeated missed launch timelines will begin to mount. They have run out of patience, and this delay could be the final straw. Indeed, for airlines such as Emirates, which had planned to rely on the 777X for the future of their long-haul operations, these delays have severely disrupted efforts to modernize their wide-body fleets. On multiple occasions, Emirates President Sir Tim Clark has openly questioned Boeing's competence and its ability to deliver on schedule. At the height of his frustration, the carrier even threatened to cancel its 777X orders altogether. Although such threats never materialized, the fact that they were voiced repeatedly speaks volumes about the level of dissatisfaction. Ironically, Emirates has since returned to place additional orders, underscoring both its dependence on the aircraft and the lack of alternatives. Wait, don't forget to hit subscribe because we know you're going to love what's coming next. Trust us, you won't want to miss it. Meanwhile, other carriers, including Cathay Pacific and ANA, have also expressed discontent over the persistent delays and the ripple effects on their fleet strategies. More seriously, industry analysts and observers argue that such frustration is entirely justified, particularly given the substantial planning, investment, and anticipation airlines have devoted to integrating the 777X, only to see their timelines continuously pushed back. But there is an even more dramatic impact here. Boeing's delay presents an excellent opportunity for Airbus, its main competitor, for its A350 to thoroughly dominate the large twin-engine wide-body aircraft market. While Boeing's new jetliner is stuck in the certification vortex, the A350 is already operating efficiently and is trusted by leading airlines worldwide. For airlines that have ordered the Boeing new aircraft but are frustrated with the uncertain delivery schedule, the A350 could once again become an attractive alternative, strengthening Airbus's leading position in this segment. For example, Lufthansa and All Nippon Airways, considering adding the A335 to their fleet or even partially canceling their 7X orders to switch to the A350, would be a major blow to Boeing's market position. This not only affects their sales, but also erodes customer confidence in the maker's ability to meet its commitments. But why does losing market share to Airbus carry such serious consequences? To understand, we need to take a closer look at the original purpose of the 777X and how Airbus sees the opportunity with the A350. This aircraft was heralded as the successor to the immensely successful 777 family, which first entered service in the 1990s, promising a breakthrough in large-capacity, long-haul twin-engine flight. But here's the crucial point. The 777X was planned to launch with two primary passenger variants, the -8 and the -9. While the larger 77-9 has proven significantly successful in attracting orders, the -8 variant has struggled to make an impression. Let's be clear about one thing. This isn't just a bigger aircraft. It's a smarter design built to directly compete with the Airbus A350. In an industry increasingly moving away from 4G wide-bodies, key innovations include its unique folding wingtips, which allow the plane to operate more efficiently in the air while still fitting into existing gate spaces worldwide, along with the high-performance yet massive GE9X engine, which breaks previous limitations. But there's a deeper strategic element here. The Airbus A350 was designed from a clean sheet to take on Boeing and its dominant wide-body products. While both aircrafts share many similarities, they ultimately offer airlines distinct features that play a pivotal role in their final decision. So, what are the real numbers? According to the manufacturer's pitch, the 777-9 variant can carry up to 426 passengers, while the smaller 8 variant carries only 384 passengers. This compares favorably with the A350-1000, which is better equipped to seat passengers in the high 300 to low 400, whereas the A350-900 is the more optimal option for passengers looking for a capacity in the low to mid-30. The -8 boasts an impressive 16,170 kilometers, while the larger variant is expected to offer 13,500 kilometers. This remains a suitable range for most airlines, but it's only slightly ahead of the A350-900, 15,000 kilometers, and the A351, 6,100 kilometers. But what truly blows many people's minds is that this range comes hand in hand with critically important fuel consumption, which could be a key deciding factor for airlines. The -9 is said to consume 48 pounds of fuel per nautical mile, while the A350-100 is only around 32 pounds. While this metric will fluctuate quite significantly depending on the route configuration and total weight, this disparity shows the A350 has a distinct advantage. Finally, one of the biggest differences is physical size, with the 77-9 outperforming the A350 in every metric. Its fuselage is approximately 2.7 meters longer, its wingspan is 8 meters larger, and its height is even increased by approximately 2.4 meters. When looking back, both the Boeing new aircraft and the Airbus A350 were designed to conquer long-haul and ultra-long-haul routes, providing airlines with a balance between range and fuel efficiency. The 7X establishes itself as a prime choice for high-capacity transportation markets, especially the -9 variant. Its ability to carry more than 400 passengers is ideal for meeting the high demand from airlines still operating on the hub-and-spoke model. Conversely, the A350, with its slightly more modest capacity but still holding critical performance metrics, offers valuable flexibility across an airline's entire route network. This is what has made the A350 a popular choice among airlines that also favor what the 787 can do with its more modest wide-body size. Therefore, despite Boeing jetliner's superior advantages in size and capacity, the uncertainty around its delivery time